The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked onto the True Nation station, WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about Jesus and the 12 disciples, because we know they all walked the earth before us, but we also talking about the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and said, but we chance that Columbus lied. But also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott with the P this week stands for
Penitence Bay.
Street? Yeah.
Or Palms, because Sunday was Palm Sunday.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. The Passion. Let's go with Passion.
Passion, yeah.
Yes. The Passion of the Christ.
For those who would have attended the Catholic Church for the weekend, the Passion was read in church, and that's one of the longest gospels that we have to sit and enjoy. All right. Before we go any further, I must remind you that this is Aaron868. I remind you each and every time that culture is my code, and I sit here alongside my bro with no fro, a lot of flow, always on the go and in the know.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage.
And this is the living room.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Must give a public service announcement this Thursday in Siparia. It has its usual festivities of all the vendors on the streets and all these different things. There's also the public viewing of the Ladivin. Ladivin would be out for public viewing from Thursday straight until Friday. All right, so if you feel the need to make your way down to Siparia, you can do so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's my public service announcement.
Yeah, I'm wondering, if I could get hot cross buns.
I actually had some from a popular chain bakery in Marabella.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to score them, they were a solid 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that 2 points too low for what I'm looking for. Yeah. Out of touch, back in the day, I would have known several people who had orders out, and I would have been able to.
Check JL statuses on WhatsApp.
Hey, well played. And speaking of JL, actually, JL's interview with your boss, Jobs, today. Your radio boss. Kenny Phillips, JL interviewed Kenny Phillips for Chit Chat with 2 T's. So while I'm not directing people away from the radio station at all, I'm just saying that if you do want to see another side of Kenny Phillips, you could probably check out Chit Chat with 2 T's.
Yeah, another side.
He's a layered character. I will give him that.
He's an onion.
He's an excellent performer, though. The energy that he and JL had in terms of, you could tell somebody who's accustomed to being on camera and behind on the mic and thing. He was a really, it was a top-notch discussion. I enjoyed it. No. It was good. JL actually said it at the end of the interview that it was one of the most entertaining she'd had.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No, you'll never hear the end of that. I just like
no.
Because just like you boast to be a beacon of humility.
I am a beacon of humility, Aaron. But don't forget righteousness, justice, peace, light, all the other things.
Kenny is probably the most humblest of the humble.
You sure? Because my humility relatively unmatched,
Anyway, let me get on to it. We have Vorish there coming to give us our lovely musical introduction. And then we have a very special guest to join us today.
Yeah, that's
right.
right. Coming out of Barbados, we have a songstress, amongst other things. She's a dear friend of mine, and her music this week is apt, truly appropriate for this week.
All right. Vorish, take it away.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room.
And we are back after that lovely, lovely intro from Vorish. And I must admit that as excited as I am to make this inter-island connection, I'm also a little saddened because Maria, who I had previously under the category of dear friend, seems to be forming an alliance with Aaron to besmirch my character. Ladies and gentlemen, they are of the opinion that I am mischievous. And quite possibly I harass people. I'm not acting in self-defense. I am a harasser and I don't take kindly to it. So Maria, I'm going to ask you if, firstly and foremost, if you could introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the living room, and then apologize for the way that you have treated me over the past 17 or so seconds.
No apology, firstly, and thank you. It is wonderful to be here. Hello to all the listeners. He's gonna get over it, don't worry. And it's such a thank you, Ricardo. Thank you so much for having me, and Aaron. Thank you. It has been this journey has been very exciting. Lots of hard work, but at the same time exciting. And I'm happy to have the connections with y'all in Trinidad.
Yeah,
You want me to introduce myself and say more about myself? Because
I feel we'll get there. But you see, you already refused to apologize for siding with Aaron. So I realized that this interview going to go a little differently to how I anticipated. So I had a bat carefully.
Okay.
So for those of you who haven't picked up on it, there's a hint of an accent. Right? Maria is joining us from the lovely island of Barbados. And there's so much about that I want to get into as well, because Aaron and I are huge advocates for becoming better citizens, but we have not really considered what it means to be a Caribbean citizen. So I think it's a space that we should explore going forward. We should try to have more regional guests. So Aaron has a liberty that I'm taking. Are you okay with it, sir? Oh, thumbs up. The old leaving me to my own devices. If I talk long enough, I'll get myself tie up trick. Yeah.
It's happening anyway, so he still has to agree to it anyway. So
you see why I say it's self-defense? Right. But Maria, I'm gonna start off with what is actually the most difficult question that you're gonna get this evening in the living room. It is not where's the scene, jelly bean. It's not where's the gist, physicist. It's a heartfelt, really want to know, how are you?
I am well. I am excited about this time, but I'm doing well. And I'm giving God thanks for everything that's been happening. How are you, Ricky?
I am well. The last couple months of my life have been on fast forward, and the last week or two has been on play by 16. You know, when it stopped fast forwarding and it just started to skip through chapters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But I am looking forward to spending a couple of days of rest and relaxation in destinations to be revealed after the fact. You know, I don't want my fans all over the place. You know.
Oh yeah, of course.
One or two fans. You know.
Aaron is there looking like, what is he talking about?
And speaking of Aaron, you know, I'm going to do what I do best and deflect to Aaron and ask Mr. Williams, sir, we've been deprived of a voice for maybe like 2.5, 3 minutes now. How are you, sir?
A pleasant good evening, Maria. It's really nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
You know, we shared a great moment earlier, and I hope that we share more moments like that during tonight's episode.
Most definitely.
To answer the question, I am good. I can't complain. Lent has been an interesting journey, one of reflection, one of accepting the wrongs, and one of trying to do better. So I'm good, learning more about myself each and every day.
Okay. It's great.
Yeah, that is great and profound, even sobering even. You know, and it is a healthy reminder that, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Holy Week. Right? We are at a time of intense reflection, or hopefully some intense reflection. We're at a time when we have to recognize that we are celebrating, and celebrating is the right word. Deliverance, freedom, the fact that Christ paid the ultimate sacrifice, that we do have to account for each and every single thing, because forgiveness is an option that is available to us. It is an option that is available to us. So I don't want to go into no such a long preaching, and all I could talk about God all day. But we are in a space where, even earlier this month, there was Ramadan, and there were different celebrations. But this week, a lot of the world is celebrating, at Easter. I hear some people calling it Resurrection Sunday. I'm hearing different cultures are modifying the way that they approach the season. But this is a week of significance, historically, religiously, spiritually, culturally. It's also the beginning of the holiday vacation. So the kids are around, and people will be visiting, and there'll be trips, etc., etc. There's a lot going on. And we're hoping that even in the midst of all these things going on, that you do take some time to reflect, as Aaron did, on what the season means and what it means for you as an individual. Right? And it is on that note that I've asked my very, very good friend and sister in the walk, right, to share something very special with us this Holy Week in the living room. So, Maria, now that we've gotten the how are you out of the way, and I've gone on my signature monologue for could be 2.5 minutes so far, we could move into the rest of the dialogue and conversation.
Maria, how was this connection between you and Ricardo made? Because we always bring, the thing is, we always bring guests that we would have run across somewhere or met through some mutual friend or somebody who reached out to us inside the living room. I want to know how this connection was made, because now we're talking flying fish fights here.
Oh dear.
No, it's here. Trinidad, Barbados, flying fish fights. Who's the greatest cricketer? Yeah, them kind of things. Gary Sobers.
Well, we need to send all the flying fish over by our side. This matter will be resolved. Yeah.
But yes, how did you and Ricardo link up for us to have the privilege of having you here in the living room?
Okay, so I met Ricardo last year, I think. So I met him last year. As he indicated to you, there's a Barbados branch of the church that he also attends. So I was visiting the church over there, and I saw this gentleman, mid-aged gentleman, and I decided that I would just talk with him a bit and stuff. So I discovered more and more, Ricardo, he's good. He's really good vibes. He's really, and genuine. I'm going to speak well of him now because, I should do that as a good sister. So he's a very good guy who's passionate about God. And so we are also in different trainings. So we get to learn about each other and that kind of thing. So that's how we really met up. So in speaking with him, I was just saying to him, I've been releasing some songs, but I would really like to get into the region. And so I discovered he was a DJ and that kind of thing. So I said, okay, well, let's hook up. I want to release. You're a DJ? Because Aaron all of a sudden raised his eyebrows.
Aaron is a DJ. I am.
You are the. Right.
I'm
sorry.
a talking head.
You're a host.
Yeah, I'm a host. Yeah.
Sorry, let me correct myself. Right. So I am sorry, I will not give Ricardo anything more than he is supposed to get.
Aaron
Okay.
was going to embarrass me
I know.
in
I realized
studio
I had
next
to play these
opportunity he get.
facts right there. I had to, go in there and just make sure you were
Hmm.
safe.
Have me
So
pressing
anyway,
buttons and praying.
right. So speaking with Ricardo, he said, yeah, he hosts this program and stuff. So I said, okay, well, maybe I can hook up with you because I want to get into the region more. And so that's where the connection came. So it's fantastic. Yeah.
And
Okay.
it was
All right. And because, well, since you say you want to get your music into the region, that means that there's one genre that you sing, because Ricardo listens to mainly and predominantly one genre of music,
Okay. What's that? Reggae or
gospel.
right? Gospel. Yeah. So
He only listens to soca and calypso if I happen to make a mix, or he listening to whack.
okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's mainly gospel, right? It's gospel, and I think it will be gospel
Okay.
forever.
Nice.
So I started producing music when we were just coming out of COVID, because I've always written music and sang Song of the Lords in church and that kind of thing. But then, COVID presented an opportunity for there to be introspection and that kind of thing. And I realized, there is a gift in here, a talent, and I need to be able to produce it for the world so that everybody can benefit from it. Churches can benefit from it. And realizing that we sing a lot of our worship songs are from the US or other places, and we have to be able to build our own worship songs with people understanding the writers who have the integrity, who are anointed. And so for me, that was the reason, because I realized that what God has given to me is for the earth, it's for the world. It's not just to keep for yourself in a little folder and sing at church on Sunday only. So this is me going out here, letting people know, have an experience with God through these songs, because I sure did. A lot of these songs that were birthed came about when I had an experience with God. And my aim is to continue to produce these songs going forward, because I have a number of them written.
This is great news, because I listened to the track that you sent, and I'm like, wait, this is
Just saying now, he listened to the track you sent. He didn't send me the track, but it's cool.
Aaron, don't do me that.
I'm so
Aaron-
sorry, Aaron. I am
Aaron,
so you
Aaron.
know how Ricardo is.
Just now.
Oh, too late, bro. Screenshot, and I'm going to post it right here, that I sent the link, and I said, Bajan artist to debut her gospel song next week for TLR Holy Week episode. But don't worry, everybody will see that. Immediately above that, there's a YouTube link. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. I knew it was coming in. Yeah. See, I have to defend myself because of these accusations attempting to vilify and besmirch my character.
Ricardo, you're not helping yourself right now. You should
I
quit
would.
while you're.
Oh, what did it?
Yeah, you avoided it. You just took away all the sympathy.
Dude, oh man. But yeah, I am excited, Maria, because let's put it this way. I am a critic, an analyst, and an encourager. I think, to be fair, you have to be all three. Right? If you're an analyst and you don't ever actually criticize or encourage, well, then what are you doing? You're just picking things apart. And
Yeah.
if you don't criticize, well, then you have no intentions of anything becoming better than it is. Right? And as an encourager, then you're not actually providing people with, motivation to do so. And I listened to this song and I'm thinking, honestly, before I pressed play, I was like, I know Maria could sing, but is this going to be a good song? And
Oh,
when I heard it, I was like, thank you, Jesus. Yes, I could endorse this, I could recommend this. We could actually bring on the show, and I don't have to be like, well, I'll see when we could schedule you in. And it was great. It was like, wait now, it's holy and it's holy week. It could not have been better. So, despite Aaron's accusation of me not sharing the music, I have done so and will continue to do so. And I'd actually like to take the opportunity, if it's all right, to play Holy for the listeners.
yeah, sure. Go right ahead.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on WAC 90.1 FM, where we are culture crazy, we present to you Holy by Maria Phillips.
Seated in
as excited as I was to originally hear this song, I am sobered and encouraged. There's a grace about your music, and I really feel honored that this is a space that allowed for your debut into the Trinidad and Tobago market, and I'm going to do as best as possible to create opportunities not just for you but for other Christ-minded, like-minded people to share their holy experiences, because I believe being holy is an often overlooked part of the path. And I thank you for your obedience, and I thank you for your trust in bringing this thing to life.
It's a privilege, and a lot of the music I write comes from being in the presence of God. And I hear music all the time, and I get up sometimes in 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I hear music, so I will hear a song and I just record it. So it's a privilege to be used by God, and it's a privilege to lead people into worship. And I've been doing that for a while, and realized that was the grace on my life, to be able to lead people into the presence of God, where you can have an experience where you can cry, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and who is to come. I realized that He alone is holy and He alone is God. So it's an awesome experience. And I know people, my heart is to see people just enter into that presence with God and to see their lives transformed. I believe God can do so much, and in this season He will do so much through our worship, whether it's healing, deliverance, you name it, and my encouragement is for others out there who may be like me to really get into the presence of God and to really experience this God that we serve, who is greater than any other God, who is great and who's awesome. And so, yes, that's my heart, that's my vision, that we can see people really enter into worship, true worship. And God, God has said He's seeking worshipers, people who will worship Him in spirit and in truth. And so that's the type of worship that I want to bring. It's good to dance, it's good to rejoice, and it's good to have Thanksgiving and all of that. And but in the midst of all of that, it must still be worship. It must still be in spirit and in truth, right? And so that's what I'm looking to bring to the global church, and I'm excited about this time, and I'm looking forward to all the doors that are going to be opened. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, yeah, amen, amen. Because while you were speaking, it just occurred to me. Let me school the listeners on something in case they're not familiar with it. Now, Aaron mentioned that I only listen to one genre of music, which is gospel. But gospel is actually more like an umbrella category, because even within gospel, there's praise, which is different to worship, right? There's testimonial music, right? And even within some of those categories, right, we also have subgenres. So, case in point, one of our guests, Yul Netta, PhD. Aaron, remember met Yul from Louisiana, and he's a Christian hip hop artist with a rap label.
Right.
So, right. There's even Christian rock. There are different expressions of people's encounters with God. I would love to be a part of a thing that gets a Bajan artist on a song in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, because there are so many different possibilities for believers to connect and intersect all over the world that we don't actively think of or pursue. You might go and visit a church, you might go on a mission, but even in terms of music as ministry and not just industry, there's a lot that could be done.
Most definitely. And there's so much we learn from each other in the interaction, and so my thing is, yes, I've had one type of genre of music, but if for future I'm hoping that it will diversify into other things like salsa. I'm not too sure about the soca, but there is there's so much access, and there's so much going on in the spirit that you can have any really type of genre depending on what it has to accomplish, and so I my thing is that as Caribbean people, we have so much diversity in our midst. We have, and I want to be part of using different genres that we have here in the Caribbean as well, different expressions, because for each expression it appeals to a different market, and so that's important. Right now, the market I'm appealing to is just those people who want to, worship. But there's some, the younger generation might be more into the soca, they're more into dance hall or reggae or whichever type, and that's fine. Right? I don't think I don't think I really have the voice for that, but we'll see. You never know what happens in the future.
Because I could see one of these songs now. Locally, Jaron Nurse is one of the more popular gospel artists.
Right.
And I would have always heard the name Jaron Nurse, and I could listen to him. And then I think it was in 2016 or 2017, he had a song entitled Caribbean Christian.
Yes.
On the can rhythm.
Right.
And it was when I downloaded a DJ pack later in the year, I saw a new song on the can rhythm. I was like, hey, new thing, boy, let me see. And I put it in a Friday and it was playing. So I was like, but this is not soca, these are gospel. But it was on a soca rhythm.
Right.
With the gospel message, the message of God.
That's right.
It continues to show me that, to reinforce what Ricardo said, which is something that I do very regularly on this show, that there are different umbrellas under the gospel genre.
Right, yeah.
And Jaron Nurse is testament to that, because he even have, I think, some R&B gospel there that if you don't already listen to the words, but you're just taking the melody, you'll swear it's an R&B.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Love Technician, Ricardo. I'm sure you know that one. Right? So, use the rhythms, or as they say in the music industry, ride the rhythm and put your message on it. And the world is there for you, because you never know, as you say, you might end up on a Christian hip-hop track doing some ad-libs or something.
Okay.
I jump on challenges and thing already too. So
well, you never know. You never know how is it going to come out. Most of the time I write the song. Sometimes I will hear the music for it, or sometimes I just give it to the producer. So the producer might say, "Hey, let's try something different with this. Let's try alternative. Let's try," So really and truly, it's really up to. Sometimes it's really up to him for that type, whatever genre he wants to produce. But I'm open-minded, and I think that's one of the reasons why my producer and I, we work really well, and because he would always say to me, okay, this is, make sure the timing, or we, make sure we have the right feel that we need for this song. So I believe that there will be, as I continue to do this, there will be greater unfolding of the different types, because we're Caribbean, so we have to represent that in the song, the type of music, and that we are going to present, to our market as well, because I'm first and foremost Caribbean.
Okay. And I heard you spoke of the producer and stuff like that. Is it that all your music, because Ricardo only sent one song, and here I learned that you have more than one?
Yes, yeah.
Right? Is it that the producer that you work with predominantly is Bayesian as well?
Yeah, so I have a wonderful producer. His name is Chris Allman, and he has been in the market he has been in the industry for a very long time. He's worked with he's worked with the names. So you talk about Alison Hines. He's worked with a number of artists over the years. From you're looking at soca, you're looking at calypso. I mean, he has a wealth of experience, and so I think why I've stayed with him is because we gel together really well, like you and Ricardo. So there's that. There is that jealous. So I think from the first time I went there, I was just like, okay, this is it. I don't really need to go anywhere else, because he gives me the type of critique also that is necessary. And I appreciate that, because I do several things. Sometimes I might miss. So I actually am relying on him a lot as a producer, and he can tell me, all right, Maria, this is off, or you have to do this over. And in a lot of instances, I go to him with one verse in a song, and he's like, you need to write another verse. And I'm there telling him I don't want to write another verse, and he would say, come back to me with another verse. And so we have that type of rapport. So I call him boss. And that's it, because there is this mutual respect, and there's that respect for the fact that he comes with a wealth of experience, and he's genuinely interested in making sure that the product that we produce is the best that it can be. And I really appreciate him for that, and I tell him so all the time. I'm thankful that I am connected to the right person to be able to produce the songs that we have been producing.
Our islands are islands, right? I was thinking it would be pretty difficult for a producer to exist. But I mean, it's not like an island big like Australia, we're smaller islands, Sometimes we have to.
Cannot with your own.
It's like, I was curious. It's like, all right, so he's a producer, but I don't know how much of a career he would have been able to make only producing gospel music.
Yeah, so he's worked with some major calypsonians. He's worked with major bands and throughout the Caribbean and even internationally. He comes with a wealth of experience. This is over 30 years he's been in the industry. So I am in very good hands.
Good hands.
Yeah, very, very good hands.
Talent knows no bounds, and it shouldn't be put in a box. So if you could have been producing one genre of music for 30 plus years, music is still music.
Yeah.
So once you know the message you want to put out there in the music in terms of the chord progression of the song and all these different things, it shouldn't matter if it's soca or gospel, but to know that, and I realized this more and more as things progress, a lot of musicians would have started their lives in one genre, it could be a secular one, and end their careers singing gospel.
That is true too.
Now, you have the honor, Maria, of being our first ever gospel artist inside the living room.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. It's such an honor to be the first one. Yeah.
The honor will be twofold. We'll find some way to get Bus Up Shot to you.
Aww.
Right? I should be.
I'm going to love y'all guys forever. I hope y'all know that.
I should be in Barbados in October, I think.
Really?
Oh, but that's perfect. That's my birthday month. So
okay.
That's perfect.
All right. So once you could wait till then, we'll organize some Bus Up Shot for you.
Okay.
So that's, guys, most times just give people a plaque when or something good.
Yes.
We're giving you a routine.
Thank you. That's good.
Right.
I'm complaining.
And secondly, the question attached to that is, we always speak in the living room that a diet is not just what you eat. Your diet is holistic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? How important is it for like to people to pay attention to the music we listen to and the music we play, the ones we sing along to.
Music comes from a spirit, right? And if you are, is what you're feeding yourself, basically. And that's one of the critical things is if you listening to soca all the time, that is what is going to cause you to respond in whatever way. Also, you will recognize dance hall this because it has an impact on your, whether you realize it or not, it has an impact on your spirit. It has an impact on your personality. It has an impact whether you're going to become aggressive or whether you respond in the right way. And there are biblical verses which show this, because there was a time when Saul was being troubled, and he asked for David to come and to play, and it soothed him, right? The spirit left him. And so it's so important. If you have to decide from early what you want in life. I'm not just a musician, I'm a minister. So you have to distinguish yourself between being a minister and being a performer, right? You have to know I am ministering, and that means the message is coming from God. If you are performing, you have an event that you have to sing at, you're still ministering. It doesn't change, right? And so you have to distinguish yourself very early. Either you're going to say, well, I am just going to sing everything, and I'm just going to perform. I'm going to make sure, you know how people perform, they pump up the crowd, they get the dance, and they do this, and When you're a minister, the glory does not come to you, it goes to God. Mm-hmm. Because he is the reason for he is the person that he is using you to reach out to others, to help them in some way, right? And I think early in my life, I decided I did not want to be a performer. I wanted to be a minister, right? And so when people, when you ask me tell me to come for events, I will say to you, I minister, I do not perform. If you want a performer, you can speak to, and I recommend, other persons. Because when it comes to me, I am going to worship. That's my heart. I will worship. I don't ever want to be in a place where I'm performing. You understand? What happened, Ricky?
I'm pretty certain that the listeners have never heard someone dropping a song come out and say, I never want to be in a place where I'm performing, like where I'm a performer.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, even in the studio, Chris, my producer, he hears all kinds of music. You name it. Because that's what he does. Mm-hmm. But when we are singing, when I'm actually, even if I'm just dropping a rough of the song, I've experienced where we are in the studio worshiping God. Mm-hmm. I don't, and that's it, because the song must bring you into the presence of God. It must have an impact on your life. So this is me. And that is as simple as that. So I know there are opportunities that will come, etc. But for me, it's as simple as that. I will worship. I am not here to perform. You know.
And I want to encourage you, I really want to encourage you to maintain that posture, because not as a creative and as someone who's expressing something that stirs them so deeply. Imagine the greater triumph not being how many people clap and cheer for you, but deafening silence after you've delivered what you had to deliver, because what you said stirred, or settled, as the case might be. And people don't understand the weight of music. Music soothes the savage beast is actually a derivative of the scriptural reference that you made, where where David played, and Saul was, untroubled.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is not just scriptural, right? The studies show that music is one of the few ways of communicating information that is equally received untroubled on the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So even if someone is like, I'm not a numbers person, or I have a very hands-on learning process, the brain, your centers don't differentiate when it comes to music, which is why music is such an important teaching tool. Right? Most people could sing the national anthems, but if you ask them to like just recite it without rhythm, they would struggle to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we would know lyrics to songs, but we would not know consciously that without actually having studied them. Or even the most fascinating example to me is that the alphabet song, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that is set to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Imagine the first tools of communicating language
The children.
to
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
set to music because of the way that music allows the brain to receive information.
Yes.
So what you listen to even as an adult is so important. And I thank you for contributing something positive to that space, something that you could get up in the morning and put on Maria's music and you just do some dishes, or while you have the microwave waiting to go off as you heat your leftovers, but just take a couple minutes and just come into a space where you give God a chance to reason with you for a minute or two.
That's
So
it.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you too.
Yeah, I'm excited. Especially as Aaron say he mad I didn't send him the other song, so I can send them to him.
Yes, definitely. I agree with Aaron. Yeah. So send them to him as soon as possible.
I get nervous when my friends start agreeing on things.
Listen, y'all giving me bust up shot. I am
Mhm.
y'all. We are friends forever. Okay. I just letting y'all know that.
Now, we have learned a lot about your musical journey and your love for God as well, right? Now we learn about your love for bus up shot,
Yes, definitely.
right? I want to drop a little controversy because I try my best to sometimes do that,
Okay.
right? Last year October, I was in Barbados for an event called Pink Rose. I should be back in Barbados in October. Where would you recommend that I go for food? I really like food, so give me some places that I should go when I'm in Barbados to get food.
You must go Oystins.
Mm-hmm.
You've been
Is
to
it-
Oystins
Yes.
to
Wait,
get
what
your
is-
fish, grilled fish, fried fish,
Spell
all
that for me.
types of fish.
Where it is?
Oystins, Oistins.
I think, right. So oysters. So you can get your fish with your salad, your macaroni, your rice. You have all sorts of, it's all there Friday and Saturday nights. You
Mhm.
must go to Oystins to get your fish. Okay?
Right, and macaroni pie, right?
And yeah, and everything else. You could get your grilled sweet potatoes, your grilled breadfruit. It's all,
The breadfruit is tastes real good.
yes, but I have a preference for the yellow meat breadfruit. So
Okay.
that one is nice. Yeah. So oysters for sure.
All right. So
And
not
right now, I am a foodie, and there are not many places I eat from, but I will say go down to Oystins and go down and just grilling. They also sell food. This is down
Come on to an Easter Sunday fish fry.
Wait,
this man going to the phone in the middle of the interview. You know?
I am looking for Oyster on social media.
yeah, so
Since it's not a food business, you know,
it's an area
it's an area.
right. So where you have a lot of street food, like
Yeah.
so you have a lot of people grilling. It's like a big outside food court.
Oh, it's like the
So
cross.
you will have-
Like the cross of the savannah, yeah.
Exactly. So you will have lots of vendors out there selling their foods and their fish and that kind of thing. Is a festival during this time as well. So you're gonna have people selling different things, and look at how excited Ricardo, you look like a little boy going into a toy store.
Listen, what I bought a breadfruit life, right? I am about breadfruit, right? But I also, one of the most memorable meals I've ever had was in St. Vincent, where we actually roasted fish on the beach, right? And I mean, like, bury it and roast it.
Yes, there's also a place that if you love so much breadfruit, it's called Yellow Meat, and they sell breadfruit roasted, and then they put it with different you have different fillings. So you can have herring, you can have mincemeat, you can have roast pork, you can have lamb stew and stuff like that. Yeah, so those are the places, that's the type of food I like to eat. So those, yeah.
Now, the reason why I asked that is...
a food person, sorry for the chefette and the calves. Well, y'all have...
No, but I'm not going to say the reason why I asked that is because if a tourist generally goes to a country,
yeah,
they go to what they would see as the trending places on social media, the chefettes, the KFCs, and those kinds of things. But I wanted to ask you, or resident Bajan in the living room, where to go in Barbados for food.
Right, so I would have given you those
Yeah,
are
you-
Restaurants in Yellow
Yeah,
Meat.
you gave me that. So. Yes.
local food. That's the
Yeah.
best.
Right. So we are getting close to the end of tonight's program, perilously close. So any closing remarks, anyone you want to say good night to, anyone you want to say thank you to along your journey? Talk to us, Maria, before we close off.
I'm just giving God thanks. I want to thank God for the people He's put in my life at this time. We have Apostle Anthony Durant, who has mentored me over the years, and who's working hard on Ricardo right now.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie. Listen, that man is a wellspring of patience,
I was there just kidding, But Ricardo is good people, man. He is. But so I mean, these were the people in my life who helped me to recognize the call and the giftings, and I'm thankful for them. I honor them as well as my trusted producer. So he is going to continue to produce those songs for me, and to you all for giving me this opportunity. I am grateful for it, and for the listeners who will buy on iTunes, etc. And hope you will be blessed. I will say you will be blessed, and hopefully your worship will go to another level as you sing these songs. May you encounter God in an awesome way.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
You said iTunes. So where?
Available on iTunes.
Mhm.
Right, so all the songs that I would have sent to you, Holy is
Mhm.
also available on iTunes, and it will it'll also be available on all the other medium to download, Deezer, Spotify. So those you will be able to find it once you put in Maria Phillips and Holy. You will be able to download the music. Yeah, and it's also on YouTube, free, of course.
Yeah. So free 99, but I will I'm gonna make a purchase though. We can't want Aaron and I, one of the things we started with, well, at least when he brought me into his program, I was about creating positive content.
Right.
It is about creating positive content, and we try to push positive content in a very bacchanal type environment. So
Yeah.
if I have the opportunity to support the type of content that I wish there was more of, I'm going to take that. And I know
Okay.
WAC listeners all over the world are very supportive of local culture. And I'm pretty certain we have Bajan WAC listeners all over the world as well. So don't afraid to go onto the iTunes and the Giza and the Spotify and that type of thing. And let's support what we want to hear more of.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah. And well, you minister. right? You say you don't perform, you minister.
Yeah.
Do you have how do people contact you if they're interested? Do you email, phone number, social media? How do people who are interested in hearing this young lady bring the Lord into their lives? How does that happen?
Well, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I have a social media lady. She's there doing her stuff. I can't tell you everything. TikTok, but we're going to be producing more. Yeah, I don't like TikTok, but these are things that are necessary. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we're there. Maria Phillips. I'm also can be reached by email, mariaphillipsmusic@gmail.com. So yes, you can reach out to me, and I will respond in some way. The Facebook page is open, so you can send me a message or anything like that, and we'll respond to you.
Right.
Yes.
Maria, it's been an honor having you join us in the living room this evening.
Yeah.
I think you're our first. Is it Bajan or Barbadian? I call it Bajan Holy. The next thing is because I have too proud to collect.
Bajan is a short and form. That's okay.
All right.
Don't need to. It's colloquial. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think yes, you are both our first Bajan guest as well as our first gospel guest. And I'm pretty certain that there are other dimensions to who you are and what you do that I'm very interested in exploring in the living room going forward. I see that you're an attorney at law.
Yes, I'm an attorney at law.
Right.
For 18 years.
18, almost older than Aaron.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And there's some conflict resolution.
Yes, I'm a certified mediator. I have a company that we train companies in conflict resolution or conflict management skills called the Caribbean Center for Conflict Management. And so, yes, that's something additional also that I've done. And I've also lectured at the University of West Indies, but I'm not lecturing this year, but I've also lectured and been course director for similar course, which we do alternative dispute resolution. Yeah.
And so I see Aaron's face is saying it all. Aaron's face is saying it all, and I'd be honored to have you back in the living room in those capacities.
Anytime.
Especially for that mediation.
Yes, but you all know that's going to require a little bit more bust up shot as well.
Aaron have it covered.
Okay, thank you so much. The more the merrier.
Hey, speaking of bust up shot, Aaron, don't forget April 26th. It's my birthday. Organize the drop off, right? Guys, this is Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage on the global stage. Thank you for joining us in the living room. Remember, guys, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. All right, this Holy Week, play the music, spend a little downtime in worship. Listen to the artists that help usher that spirit in, so that you really connect with what this long weekend is about. That you really connect with what the sacrifice is about. I'm talking about this is an encounter with God is a life-changing experience. Right? It's a gift. It's a free gift. Right? Just open yourself to receive it. As Maria said, she's open-minded, and we have to be a little open-minded to the possibilities that exist out there, even for our very own lives. So I thank you again. And this week, try and keep it holy. Aaron?
This is yours truly, Aaron868. I remind you each and every time that culture is my code. And I also tell you that love is the currency. So spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys. All right? Mr. Desmond is up next with a big band. Keep it locked.